Hello chaps, what's going on guys, Willie here, super excited to bring you today's video, which is 10 jungle tips that will improve your rank immediately. You know, if you guys don't know my story, my name is WillieP, I'm an Udyr one trick. You know, for the majority of the season I held Masters rank. At one point we peaked low challenger MMR though, I'm super proud of that accomplishment. But you know, once upon a time back in season 3, I was a bronze 4 player, believe it or not. You know, I've been through the ringer, I've been through the works, there's lots of little tips and tricks I've picked up along the way. And so hopefully today I'll be able to share some of those tips with you guys to get you guys those spicy promotions you're looking for, especially with the end of the season just around the corner. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in. So the first tip I've got for you guys is use your level 1 wards. This is very basic, this is, you know, very straightforward, but this is something that honestly not a lot of people do. On screen here, I've got 6 locations for the best wards. Feel free to screenshot this if you want. But these are the best 6 locations for you to use your wards early game. Essentially, the early ward will give you the early information that you need to track the enemy jungler. It will let you know which scuttle he goes for, which buff he goes for, you know, which camps he clears. And for specific junglers like Kayn, for example, these junglers can either opt to do blue start or they can do red raptor start. And having that information is crucial for understanding early game pathing and tracking the enemy jungler. So this is something that is very basic. I know you're already sitting in your chair. Willie, we already know to use our level 1 wards. This is something I cannot stress enough. You need to do this every single game as a jungler because otherwise you don't get enough information out in order to track the enemy jungler. The second tip I've got for you guys is actually a tip on how to farm efficiently, and that is fully clear one side of the map before moving to the other. This is a mistake I see all the time at lower elos. I even see this at higher elos sometime. But basically, the long story short is if you leave one jungle camp open and then move to the other side of the map, that exposes that jungle camp to being counter jungled by the enemy jungler. Because, you know, if you do end up going for a gank to the side of the map you just moved to, then the enemy jungler is going to see you go for that gank, and then, of course, they're going to walk into your jungle and take that camp away from you. And the thing is, every time you get counter jungled, that takes a camp away from you while also putting the enemy jungler a camp ahead of you. So it's kind of like a 2-camp deficit if you think about it that way. And, you know, if you make this mistake 2 or 3 times in a game, then all of a sudden the enemy jungler will be 2 or 3 levels ahead of you, and then just like that, the enemy jungler will snowball out of control and take over the game. So just make sure to avoid moving to the other side of the map before clearing your jungle camps, specifically on every clear past the first clear. Obviously, the first clear, you're just picking up your red buff, your blue buff, and picking up a scuttle somewhere in there. But the second or third clear, that's where this tip really is super important. The next tip, which is to prioritize ganking and vision over farming. How this ties into the last step, you know, fully clear one side of your jungle, move to the other side of the jungle, but before you fully clear the other side of the jungle, make sure to move into the river, set up vision, gank any lanes that are gankable, and then go into your jungle and farm. This is a mistake I see a lot at lower elos. You know, I call it the Master Yi playstyle, where pretty much you just AFK clear your jungle. This playstyle does not work above about Diamond 4, specifically because you need to have pressure as a jungler. So this includes setting up vision in the pixel bushes, you know, controlling Dragon, controlling Rift Herald, putting pressure on your laners, or the enemy laners rather, in order to gank them. It's just a huge deal when it comes to jungling, and when you're AFK farming your jungle, you're pretty much just not helping your team at all, which is a great way for your teammates to get ganked, and then the snowball will start for the enemy team. So this is a huge tip. Like I said, prioritizing ganking and vision before you're just fully clearing your jungle. Next tip I've got for you guys actually involves pink wards. Willie, I am an alpha. I don't buy pink wards. Shut the fuck up, pussy. Listen, you're hard stuck platinum for a reason, okay? As somebody who got stuck platinum for a little bit there on my first time going through League of Legends ranks, you know, I really underestimated pink wards. Pink wards make a world of a difference when it comes to jungling. Your target bet should either be 725 gold or 1,025 gold as a jungler. 1,025 gold will give you smite upgrade plus boots plus pink ward, or the alternative 725 gold gold will give you smite upgrade plus a pink ward. These two combinations with the early pink ward, you can then go into the enemy jungle, place the pink ward down, use your smite upgrade to battle the enemy jungler if he is there. You know, and that early pink ward can get a ton of value. It can help you track him for the rest of the game. You'd be surprised if you get an early pink ward out at about 5 minutes in the game, before 5 minutes, that pink ward, believe it or not, can actually last up until about 20 minutes. I've seen games where it lasts the entire game. It just makes a world of a difference when it comes to tracking the enemy jungler. The next tip I've got for you guys actually involves dragons. Controlling dragons is one of the jungler's most important jobs. And along those lines, I want to give you guys the objective list on the dragons you need to control, because you know there's all these arguments about which dragon is the best. The best dragon to get is Infernal Dragon. If you see an early game Infernal Dragon, try and sneak it, try and rush it. Tell your team to, you know, rotate to you, get it off the map ASAP, because if you take the game to late game, the Infernal Dragon will literally give everybody on your team like 700 gold worth of free stats. It's insane. You need to prioritize the dragon. The second best dragon is Mountain Dragon. This dragon will allow you to get first tower. It will allow you to get Rift Heralds, Barons. It'll allow you to sneak Barons late in the game. It is super, super important, and especially on team comps that rely on split pushing, like Tryndamere, Fiora, Udyr, people like this. It makes a world of a difference. The third most important dragon is Cloud Dragon. Cloud Dragon is good on any team comp, but it really shines in team comps that have people like Singed or Udyr or Zillion. People with movement speed buffs, it makes a world of a difference on those champions. So prioritize that dragon if you have a team comp that's built around movement speed. And then the last dragon that you should never do as a jungler is Ocean Dragon. If it's an Ocean Dragon, you should only do it if all 3 lanes are winning and you just want to reset the dragon to get a better dragon. If the dragon spawns in as an Ocean Dragon, if it's the first on the map, let the enemy jungler waste his time by doing it, because, you know, it takes a long time to do. The Ocean Dragon's auto attacks slow you, so if you get caught doing it, you generally die since you're slowed, and the risk to reward is not worth it because it doesn't really give you anything. Ocean Dragon is aka useless dragon. Do not do this dragon unless, you know, you're just basically have 3 winning lanes and just want to reset it. Next tip I've got for you guys is a tip about understanding win conditions. So the rule of thumb here is bot lane is the most important lane to get ahead. So if you have 3 losing lanes, what you want to do as a jungler is stop farming and go camp the fuck out of bot lane. If you have a losing bot lane but a winning top lane, try and get first tower top and then use the top laner to get your bot lane ahead. Does that make sense? So like after you get first tower top, rotate your top laner down bot, and you as a jungler go down bot with him and 4-man dive bot, and then you can get your bot lane ahead. If you have a winning mid lane and a losing bot lane, you want to get first tower mid. So camp mid until you get first tower mid, and then after you get first tower mid, rotate bot with your mid laner to get your bot lane ahead. If you have a winning bot lane but 2 losing side lanes, mute your solo laners, because I don't know why solo laners complain the most out of anybody in the game. So just mute them immediately and then just camp the fuck out of bot lane and then just rotate around the map with your bot lane and just take the free win. If you have 3 winning lanes, then all you have to do as a jungler is just farm and just show up for counter ganks. As long as the enemy jungler doesn't get a good gank off, then they're going to lose the game naturally, because once again, with 3 losing lanes, it is very hard to win a game. So that's generally what you want to do as a jungler. If you have any questions, I didn't cover everything here, but if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. The next tip I've got for you guys is something I see a lot of people don't do, and that is use Opie GG before you go into game. You know, when you're in the loading screen or whatever, go to Opie GG, type in your account, and go to the live game option. With this live game option, will tell you who's autofilled, what the win rate is of both your teammates and the enemy team, and it also will tell you who's tilted and who's on a losing spree. Once you have this information, you want to use that information to abuse not only the enemy players who don't know what they're doing, but you also want to, you know, not play around the person on your team that's tilted. For example, if you have a tilted mid laner, don't camp mid lane because the mid laner won't know how to carry, right? And also you're going to want to mute the tilted players, obviously. Whereas if the enemy team has, you know, a tilted top laner who's on like a 7-game loss streak and he's auto-filled, then what you want to do is camp him super hard because he was most likely going to AFK. I know this is kind of cheesy and this is kind of scummy, but let's be honest. Junglers take the most amount of shit out of everybody. You know, we are constantly the source of complaining from our teammates. Why not, you know, abuse that tilt and abuse that rage that our teammates have and just turn it against them, right? So this is super, super good, especially once you get up to about Diamond 3 or so. It is a huge, huge deal that not a lot of people do. The next tip here, it regards champion pool. Now, this is something nobody ever told me, but this is something I kind of discovered on my own. The easiest way to climb in League of Legends is pick 2 or 3 champions, specifically early game champions, and use those champions in order to climb. Get really good at those champions, figure out how to consistently get early game leads with those, and then once you figure out how to get those early game leads, look to snowball lanes, and then snowball the game and win the game by 25 minutes or so. These type of champions include Pantheon jungle, Nocturne jungle, Udyr jungle, Graves jungle. I'm trying to think. There's somebody else I'm missing, but you know, Trundle jungle can also kind of sort of fit under these lines. Basically, anybody that can 1v1 the enemy jungle, Shaco to a certain extent fits under this category. But anybody who can 1v1 the enemy jungle and can also gank really, really aggressively pre-level 6. These type of champions have and always will be the best champions for climbing solo queue with. They're super, super strong because they allow you to get the, knock over the first domino, which can lead to a huge snowball and allow your team to pull ahead. So I strongly, strongly recommend you pick up these type of champions, get really good at 1 or 2 of them, and then just abuse them to climb. If you're serious about climbing, these type of champions will serve you the best. I just thought of this, Camille Jungle. If you, Camille Jungle is also a great champion right now for, with this play style. But, pick up one of these type of champions and just abuse them, and you'll climb a lot faster than if you were just trying to learn a bunch of different champions. Moving on, the next tip I've got for you guys involves kiting your jungle camps. This is something I have to tell people all the time when I'm coaching them. This is something that a lot of low elo players don't do. And if you watch any high elo jungler, every single high elo jungler does this. The reason why you kite your jungle camps is it does one of 2 things. 1, it saves you time between walking in between your camps, and 2, it allows you to take less damage while doing your camps. So when you do end up going for a gank, or when you do end up going for a river fight against the enemy jungle, for example, you'll have an extra 200 health that you wouldn't have had otherwise. Especially when you're doing Krugs and when you're doing Raptors, this makes a world of difference, because it can save you 3 or 4 auto attacks a piece on each of those camps, which allows you, to be much healthier coming out of your jungle. So make sure to do this if you aren't already. And last but not least, I guess the last tip I've got for you here is to put League of Legends down sometimes. I joke a lot. If you guys don't know, I stream a lot of Udyr. I'm an Udyr one trick. But if you go back and watch my VODs, it's kind of an inside joke with me and my YouTube editor. My first game is always rough because it's the first game of the day, and then we get in the middle of the game or the middle of the VOD. So the next 5 or 6 games, I play super, super well. And then at the end of the VOD, after about 5 or 6 games, I get really tilted and I play like garbage. At some point, if you are serious about climbing, you should probably only play games in batches of 5. Just because any, past 5 games in a row, League is taxing on your brain. No 2 ways to cut it, boys. League is a mentally demanding game that really drains your senses a lot of the time. And so, by the time you get, play 6 or 7 games in a row, your mental is fried. You're tilted, you're tired, you need to take a break, you need to go outside, you need to stand up, you need to do something, you need to go eat. Just get your mind off League. So I know this is kind of a lame last tip, but it is true. Every time I play off stream, and when I got to my peak, I would only play 2 or 3 games in a row, take a break, then come back, play another 2 or 3. It is really the best way to climb in League of Legends. It helps you prevent tilt, it helps you focus, and it helps you avoid, garbage teammates, because you'll get a new teammate pool, every time you do this. So those are my 10 tips. If you found anything useful, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see similar videos in the future, let me know. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.
I'm an icon, man. My girl about a 10. I should fuck her in the Benz.